Hey, and welcome to a little video. I don't know how little it's gonna be because this is obviously totally off script and I'm just ranking my favorite Xenoblade characters, so it could be kind of long. So that's literally what the title will say, probably, except if I use clickbait, but I won't. And, from the start I have to say, I do remember most of the characters from to the most, and since I recently played through 3, which, it's gonna have spoilers, so if you haven't beaten 3 yet, there will be spoilers about these characters, because, well, otherwise I can't judge them. If I don't say, some of the greater themes behind the characters and stuff, even though, maybe there's some where I'm not going to be going into depth too much. But anyways, and I should say my rankings from the Xenoblade games, and the thing is, there's also no X characters here. I love X, but even if the few characters that actually kind of matter in the game would be here, I wouldn't be able to rank them too much anyways. But anyways, I should also tell my ranking of the games to kind of make you see that, there is going to be a certain bias, I think. 2 is my favorite game in the series, then it would be probably 3 and then 1. The thing is, I did play 1 first. Obviously, I played the Wii version. I also played the definitive version, and I never beat the definitive version, but I beat the Wii game. But the thing is, it has been quite a long time since then, and I never really felt the need to really replay it. So there's gonna be, obviously, I made a ranking here. Who was this again? And there's gonna be some of these characters where I have no idea who they are, what they were. Except if they played like a really big role in the story. But overall, I think most Xenoblade 1 characters that are not part of the main story, that is like really main story, are probably gonna end up here, so please don't hate me too much. I should have replayed it when the definitive version came out, but you know how it is sometimes. Like, sometimes you play a video game, and then you just stop and you never return to it, and that's how life sadly is sometimes. But I still love the game. There's like no negative bias here where I'm like, oh, I hate this game, so I'm gonna put everyone down here. So I should probably start with some of the characters where I'm like, who was this again? Like, I know that most of these Machina characters show up after you obviously go through McConnell's Field, or before you go through there in a little village around the Fallen Armor thing. Obviously, I know Eagle. Obviously, he's like supposedly the big bad guy, and he's like kind of cool. I would hang out with him. Like, he's the kind of villain that makes you think, okay, he's a pretty cool villain. And obviously, his mecha, I can't pronounce the name, and it's like obviously something about the Bible. Like, obviously I shouldn't go too deep. I should not. Religion is the kind of stuff where maybe if you mispronounce something, people are gonna be mad. But I love his mech, and that's all I'm gonna say, I guess. Obviously we have Melnev. I think that was her name, Melnev, right? Or was it her real name? Or was that the name that she actually had? Galea was the one in Xenoblade 2 where we know that's her real name, right? Galea, or something like that. And fictional name, like Zanza's name, is Maynef. Something like that. My brain is kind of fizzy. And, she's probably a nice person. If you know with the knowledge of Xenoblade 2, you kind of know, oh, she tried to stop it, but it wasn't enough. And this guy, I have no idea. Like, most of these Machina guys, no idea. This guy, he has a funny face, but that's all he has. And, I don't want to be, vulgar, but his face things kind of remind me of boobs a little bit. And, he has pretty nice lips. Like, I don't know if I would kiss him, but the thing is, this guy, he was supposedly Charla's. She was into him, he was into her. Were they in a relationship? I don't think they were, but you kind of know they were kind of in one. We never really meet him, or, he just kind of dies. But does he come back as a mech? I don't know if he comes back as a, mech. I think this mech phase was also kind of whatever. Like, I think you meet him in the mines, if that's the guy who I'm thinking of, but I'm not quite sure if that's the guy I'm thinking of. Like, I don't see any other Metal Face here. Metal Face was obviously Mumka. That's the one kind of guy you remember because, the big twist, like, oh, it's him who's the evil guy who's kind of following throughout the game, and he's even the guy who kind of tried to kill Fiora. But then she isn't that, and everything kind of went well with her, at least. But yeah, Momka, the thing is, I did my ratings a little bit bad, I think. Like, obviously people go like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Not with a G. and they go like, you know, this character is like nice with how he's written and stuff, but I kind of named my stuff with something, and the thing is, if I put him into the middle of the pack, I call it probably a nice person, but Mumka is not a very nice person, to be honest, and I wouldn't hang out with him either, even though, you know, as a villain, I kind of do love the archetype that these villains have, where they go like, I'm an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. And I kind of do like it when they are cocky, but then, you know, when you beat their ass, they go like, no, I don't want to die. And that kind of takes a little bit away from their, what is it called? Archetype. Oh, that's the thing is, who is this again? Like, is this Mayneth or is this one Mayneth? Like, I don't know which one of these two is actually Mayneth now. Or, you know, obviously your other name. And, you know, I think I should know. I mean, this one looks way more important in the middle here. So I think she's the one, and she would be the one where I'm like, okay, who the heck is this again? So again, you know, my Xenoblade 1 knowledge, I hope nobody's gonna be mad. Or if you're gonna be mad, please insult me. I kind of liked it, actually. I should have started with Xenoblade 2 characters where I know what I'm kind of talking about, so people would be like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, and then in the middle of the video I come to most of these Xenoblade 1 characters, and then people would be like, oh, this dude is a fucking idiot, he doesn't know anything, what the fuck, why did I watch this video so far? You know, but, you know, let's do that, you know, for example, we have we have Gramps, Azurda, you know, I would not die for him, but I do think he would be kind of cool to hang out with, in both forms, you know, as a tiny little dude who probably flies around in your backpack, you know, eating a little bit of ice cream, he tells you about his stories that he has seen throughout the years that he lived, you know, and, you know, you could fly on him, Rex even lives on him, you know, that's even cooler, like living on a tiny, I mean, he's kind of like a dragon with a unicorn kind of thing on his head. I wouldn't mind living on him too. But, you know, obviously, we live in times where electricity is probably very expensive, or it is expensive, and, you know, maybe we should go back to those times where we don't need anything else to live except a bed, you know, a nice grill like Rex has, and, you know, just living on the back of an old man who complains about back pain all the time. Okay, then we have... Let's talk about character I don't know too much from Xenoblade 2. She's kind of whatever. I mean, she's a nice person, but the thing is, as a character, she's kind of whatever. Like, her blade quest is about, like, how she kind of misses her... It was kind of about, you know, how... she's basically like a housewife to the owner, kind of. And she's a nice person, that's all I'm gonna say. Otherwise, I never used her. She's, like, also a blade you don't pull. You get her through a quest, and it's like, you know... I do think, like... I do know the guy who drew her, like the artist, the manga artist, because most of the, I mean, every guest blade, or every blade is like drawn by a different artist. And, you know, that's why the art style is kind of sometimes where you go, okay, how is this in the same game as this character? Because she doesn't look like any of the other Xenoblade 2 characters. Like, some characters actually kind of fit into the game, like Cassandra, with the look, but, you know, obviously this look is very different from the others. So, back to Xenoblade 1, Juju, well, whatever. I mean, the thing is, I should make, like, the thing is, does he deserve, like, an even worse? I mean, I'm gonna add an extra woe, that, wait, I'm messing this up. Would hang out with, who was this again? Would die for, absolute gold, probably a nice person. Wait, I totally misclicked. Okay, like this. I should add a woe below here that just says, I should add the woe below, well, whatever. Oh, the thing is, this side sometimes, it's late, it's like almost 2 AM for me, so it's like hard to use my brain, even though it's always kind of hard. Add below, or woe below, and then we make this a nice shade of, I mean, that one is blue, we should make this one a deep blue then, and the other one, that is the green one. Or the first green, and then the other one is also green. And we add this... Oh, why is it going away? You please leave me alone. I think that would fit pretty well for Juju. I don't like him at all. I think, you know, he's the kind of guy who probably means well, but, you know, you kind of think, well, whatever. He fits kind of into both, where you go like, the thing is, he's just annoying, to be honest. And then we have, let's pick this guy, which I forgot his name of. He's one of those really rare blades. I mean, he's not really rare, but he's one of those rare blades that you get very often at the start of the game when you replay the game, because he's like one of the easiest ones to get, and I think his design is ugly. I know that the wife of Takahashi, hopefully I didn't mispronounce the name now, Tetsuya Takahashi, right? That's the producer of all the Xeno games, and obviously writer. I hope I didn't mess that one up. But again, you know, it's late and stuff. I know he was designed. Was he this one? I mean, I think he was the one designed by his wife. And she also helped out on the Xenosaga games and everything. It wasn't this guy with the red hair, right? Like, I kind of mix them up sometimes, but, you know, I don't like his design at all. I never used him. I don't know much about his personality. I just don't like his design. And I would really like if he wouldn't always show up as one of the blades that you get very early. You know, why can't it be Cosmo but Beloved? The thing is, you know, obviously judging Cosmos by her character in just Xenoblade 2 is kind of hard. If you never played the Xenosaga games, then it's obviously a character that you kind of recognize probably, where you go like, wow, isn't she like from the earlier Xeno stuff? And obviously, the thing is, you know, her personality is, I don't want to be that guy, but the personality doesn't really start till Xenosaga 3. Like, obviously she has a character, but it's kind of like, I would hang out with her, but Cosmos, she has a great design. Like, her design in Xenosaga 3 is my favorite one. She already looks kind of cool in 1 and 2, but, you know, it's perfected in 3, but I like her Xenoblade 2 outfit also the more. I mean, it's kind of like perfected, and I really wish we would ever see her again. One day, maybe. Even though I don't think there's any hopes. Not even in a HD collection, because Namco probably doesn't like many. Even though, to a degree, you kind of understand why they wouldn't do it, but you kind of do want them to do it. But, you know, wishes sometimes are just wishes. Sometimes they won't be fulfilled, because that's how life is. That sounds very pessimistic, but, you know, we can hope. One day, Namco is maybe going to see the appeal, even though, you know, they should have seen the appeal already, but that's just hope. You know, but if you can't, if they don't, play them on an emulator. They are worth it, even though, again, very, you know, Xenosaga 1 and 2 are games. I mean, Xenosaga 1 is an introduction where you think, okay, when does it start? And it never really starts, and then you play through 2 and you see, you know, oh, they struggle a lot because of the budget constraints after it didn't so well, and then they got told, oh, pick everything, or put everything into 3, and then I don't know how 3 turned out so freaking well with basically everything in once. You know, and Takahashi, hopefully one day, you know, he will fulfill his vision, hopefully, with Xenoblade. I mean, he's kind of trying to. I mean, Nintendo will finance those games till the end of the time, till he maybe doesn't want to make them anymore. But anyways, this is a character thing. This is just all off topic. Like, let's pick like a Xenoblade 3 character. The thing is, obviously, it won't look like a nice list if I go through mix. You know, like, it would more probably be the smartest way to just pick Xenoblade 1 characters and then 2 and then 3. But that wouldn't be any fun, right? Okay, also here, the thing is, this guy, Borealis, I think Borealis is the guy from Xenoblade 3 that is really, you know, he's simping for Ethel. He has a very similar name to this blade who really loves to eat. They both start with an B-O, I think. But the thing is, I never really used him. I think he is probably a nice person. He eats too much. If I would take him out, the thing is, if I would hang out with him, it would be like, hey dude, where do you want to go eat? And then I would have to pay for him, and, you know, paying for him when he eats too much, that would be so expensive that I won't really be able to pay for it. So, then we also have Rock from Xenoblade 2. It's kind of like a whatever kind of thing. I mean, his design is kind of okay. I mean, I know that people thought it was a girl because the sandbags are kind of like titties, but they're not, I think. And he's kind of cool. He's but also he's kind of like whatever. Like he's a little bit sarcastic sometimes. He's a little bit proud of himself, like with how he talks, and, you know, he's kind of like, I didn't use him too much. I do know that in the early game he's probably pretty good because he has Smash and everything. and you don't really have too many smashes in the game, but you know, I never really use them too much. Koa though, I love Koa. I mean, not to dive. I mean, the thing is, you know, I would love to go fashion shopping with her. Like, she seems like the type of girl where you go shopping together and you go like, wow, this is so pretty, and you know, you give each other like really nice compliments, and you know, it's just a really fun, wholesome time with a friend. You would eat something together. You would, you know, even dress up in front of each other, like not even in a lewd way where you think, oh, you only pick her because she has a slutty outfit on. No, I just think, you know, in a way, she's just really fun to hang out with. It's an extra plus that she's also hot. You know, and it gave us one of the best cutscenes in Xenoblade 2, even though I know many people make fun of that cutscene where she dances with Mithra, but, you know, Japanese humor and all that, but I do love that cutscene. And I kind of hate how people try to make that cutscene look like, oh, this game is fucking shit, because, look, there's a silly scene in a game that takes you over 200 hours, and most people probably have never even done most of the Blade quests, because they never got them, they never granted their affinity up, and stuff like that. You know, it's just a very hidden scene, and people take it out of context, and it's so stupid. You know, I kind of understand when people say, oh, Xenoblade 2 has these anime tropes like, oh, sleepwalking Mithra slaps Wax for being a pervert, but it was your own fault. I can understand something like that. You know, it's a main story, it's a little bit an old trope, and you know, not everyone has to like those. I can understand if someone brings up that complaint, but sometimes, you know, another big complaint that always was Ursula. She's a nice person. The thing is, I'm a furry, and she has like this weird mix between being a furry and a human, and I do like it. You know, I would hang out with her not that much. I mean, the thing is, in the American version, or in the English dub, she has like this very nice Southern American accent, and it's kind of neat. But yeah, I think she was my first rare blade, and I got her. Wait, I don't know if she was my first one, but I remember that she was the first one I got after beating this guy, because you get like a rare core crystal after this guy, because he's like the first real boss of the game if you don't count chapter 1. I mean, you do count Malos in chapter 1 as a boss, but you know, he's like the first real boss before, you know, Morak shows us as a boss, and if you don't count Bridget in chapter 2. Like, he's basically like the first, you know, where you think he's a bad guy kind of guy. You know, with his stupid Ethernet stuff. Or no, he's not the one who says Ethernet, he's the one who says, oh, it's an emerald, or the color emerald, against the guy who is talking about the Ethernet. He's like, yeah, he's the kind of guy where you just go, yeah, he's just a silly Saturday morning cartoon kind of villain dude, where, you know, obviously he doesn't deserve any characterization and everything. But yeah, you know, no, I forgot the name. She starts with a D. Obviously, then we also got the other Ice Blade. I mean, there's 2 more Ice Blades. No, wait. Fairy is also Ice, or Fury. Ursula, which... You're a nice person. Ursula, I really do like you and your little tiny teddy bear. Or, you know, ice bear. The thing is, did you know that ice bears will kill you? If you see an ice bear in real life, the chances are that you will get killed by it. The thing is, most of us will never see an ice bear, because who the heck goes to the... I think they live at the North Pole, because they live where the penguins don't live. Like, penguins live at the south, and they live at the north. Or the other way around. Something like that. So, meeting an ice bear is probably going to be really hard. But, you know, if you see one, you're fucked, basically. And, you know, she has a nice ice bear with her, who probably protects her, and... I mean... her side quest makes her a very unpleasant person, but you know, you still love her because she's just really cute, wholesome, and pure, and she hasn't, you know, if I say anything negative about her, the ice bear will kill me. Abrona is more like a, well, whatever. I do love her English dub voice for some reason. Like, it feels, I don't know, it just feels so unorthodox. Like, it's not the kind of voice that you really hear from people. Like, it doesn't feel like a professional that does it, but maybe that's the point. And obviously, that's not meant to be an insult. You know, she just... When you first hear her, you probably think she's an annoying person, and you don't hear her talk anyways very often, or very much. And something about her English dub voice just resonates with me. But overall, she's just kind of whatever. And I mean, you can put any of those blades that they use in whatever. Like, he starts with an S. Like, he reminds me of the alien from Alien. the Xenomorph. Do these two even talk? Like, I do know that you can get them in... Not... Do you only... I mean, I don't know that you unlock the members from Torna in Xenoblade 2 plus next game. But I don't think... Do you get these two then? Only in the New Game Plus? Because I do think you do. And the thing is, they're kind of whatever. Like, I don't remember anything about them really. I just know that Petroka really gets pissed if you kill hers. And where's in Petroka? Like, I would think all of them would be together. Where's Petroka? Like, we obviously got Malus, we got Jin, we got Mikhail, we got Echoes. But where's Petroka? Am I blind? Why is she not with the other members from Torna? Well, not that it really matters. I guess she's not here for some reason. I mean, that kind of sucks for her, but such is the life. The King of Tantal, please leave me alone. I don't really care about him. I mean, he seeks father, but that's the only thing. Like, if I would want to marry Zeke, I would have to probably put him a little bit more up. But overall, I would think, yeah, you know, he's kind of like, yeah, just whatever. How about we go back to Electra, which is a nice person. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of lollies, and especially not the one that cries all the time. Like, she just sets herself up, burns herself with her electricity, but the thing is, she tries her best. Isn't that the one thing that's very important? And, you know, that's what we should all strive to do. We should all strive to do our best every day. Even if we may not reach our heights that we normally sometimes can get to. It's not a failure. Sometimes, you know, we just have those days. But you always have to get up and then try again. And that's what she makes me think of. You know, I want to buy her an ice cream after she cries her heart out because she failed at something. And then I will tell her, next time it will be better. Next time you will succeed. And next time when you succeed, I will buy you an even bigger ice cream. And then she's gonna be happy. And then she's gonna hug me. And then she's gonna electrocute me. And since I'm a normal hacking human, I will probably die. And, you know, hopefully people are having fun at my funeral afterwards. Because I can't really, well, have fun at my own funeral, can I? Okay, we have Chairman Banner. The thing is, what is this knob on here? I do know that he's probably from the definitive edition of Xenoblade 1. I mean, is this the elder of the Nippon village, like frontier village in the village? I don't remember his magnificent beard, but, you know, he's not the arch-sage Nippon. If that Nippon is even here from Xenoblade 2, the challenge mode. Because I would recognize that beard. So I don't think that's that guy. Like, I think he's like the leader of the frontier village then. We have Kino. Kino and Nini. I think Nini is her name. Future connected. Kind of whatever. Like, this guy is like, please leave me alone. Like, you know, you kind of think he will somehow show up in Xenoblade 3 maybe. Like, he will be something. He will be doing something after he just throws himself off a cliff and doesn't elaborate afterwards. Like, he's not dead. He survived it. Probably. Like, you just wonder, what was his full point? But obviously, you know, he's just the minor villain of a little subplot in Future Connected that makes you think, yeah, that just happened. Then I think this is Melia's mom. She's, please leave me alone, fuck you. Stupid, you know, insert bad words here, I hate her. Then we got Lorefia, I think? Or was it her name? Like the boss who everyone kind of hates. The thing is, she's kind of hot. She's kind of more like, please leave me alone too, but she's hot. I can't say no to a hot woman, and the same goes for, I mean, she has a character arc where she's first like evil, like obviously she works for Melia's mom, she's supposed to assassinate Melia because, you know, obviously she can't say no to the queen, kinda, and, you know, she kinda turns into a nicer person afterwards. She's kinda nice afterwards. The thing is, I would like her to step on me, so I would also say would like to hang out with. The thing is, you know, this is not a Kuma list. You know, despite me being a Kuma, I'm not putting people based on my Kumaism. Even though she does gain a bonus point for being hot and having nice wings. And, you know, she has a character arc that makes her a nice person. I do love evil girls, but I do also prefer, I do not prefer it, I would prefer it to stay evil, but I do like a nice redemption arc, Like a redemption arc just like how Jin had it. Absolute goat, I would say. Like, I have to be honest, the first time I played through Xenoblade 2, when Azuda dropped the line like, what a splendid soul you were, I was kind of like, you know what? He killed so many people. I was like at the end where Meadow screams like, and how many people died because of it? You would forgive him just for that? I was like, dude, I kind of think, it doesn't make the things he did better. But, after you think about it, after you also play through Torna, which wasn't possible at that point, you do understand more why he did the things that he did. Like, you see his spiral into despair a little bit better, and you kind of see that where he was coming from a little bit better, I think. Like, Torna flashes out a little bit more. But, he's just a poor soul and a splendid soul, and it really makes you think, I kind of hated him. He kind of makes you think, if you thought a little bit more about the things that people are telling you to do, like you didn't need to become evil, but obviously you get it. You do understand why people were a little bit more soft on him afterwards. Saying I could go into the discussion about what makes him so great, but obviously we have other characters to get to, and I don't want to get it too long. But yeah, again, I didn't really understand why people would forgive him so easily. I would, basically saying Rex wouldn't really truly forgive him. Like, he would, obviously, but he would also get punished. Like, Rex wouldn't just say, Rex actually, never mind. He would say, yeah, let's have a drink. I'm gonna punch him, then let's have a drink. That's what he says to Meadows. So Meadows is a little bit worse than Jin, to be honest. So I would think that Rex is gonna be like, yeah. Rex is the kind of guy that could believe someone who just murdered 10 people in front of him. Then Rex goes up to him and says, why did you do that? You shouldn't do that. That's evil, right? You have to go to prison. And then he would go like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I have a bad past. Please forgive me. And Rex would be like, yeah, okay, actually, never mind. I forgive you. Let's have a drink. And then, we can talk it out. That's the kind that would probably happen like that. But yeah, Jin and Meadows, they kind of go in a duo. The thing is, where did Meadows go? Okay, there he is. Like, the thing is, I would put Meadows a little bit under Jin, but they kind of work best in a duo, where you think, wow, the best moments in video game villain history, kind of, where they even hug. If that isn't proof of it. Like the last hug at the end of the game, where you don't really know what he says or whispered into his ears. At that moment, these two have something going on. Like, obviously, Jin is hung up on Loa, so they would not have gay sex together. Because the thing is, Jin kind of doesn't strike me as someone who would ever have anything again with a different person. Like, there was only one person for him, only one path, and, there was nothing sexual going on. But, a very romance-like asexual relationship with Melos, where Melos is probably like the husband who stays at home while Jin goes to work, and they come back and they hug and they go like talk about their days and they think like, hey, some cuddles to make yourself feel better, but there wouldn't be anything sexual, asexual villain romance. So then we have Dwormak, who is a nice person, but he's in the middle between well whatever and probably a nice person. Like, he's a nice person, obviously. He doesn't really have much of a character arc. Like, he is like Nia's guardian. He's a good guy who means well. He's pretty smart. He's really cute with his sleeping hat on. But aside from that, he doesn't really add too much. And sometimes, a character doesn't need a completed character arc. Otherwise, Morak wouldn't be cool as heck. As she is, because she is cool as heck. When, Morak doesn't have too much of a character arc. When she joins the party, she's basically the same person from the start to the end. Like, she doesn't have her side story, really. She just joins for the fun of it to kind of look over the others. Kinda, and that's the same with Zeke. Like, obviously, Zeke has a little bit more of backstory. We learn more about him throughout the game. I would also die for him. But he doesn't really have an arc where it starts, where he starts as an insecure Shunibyo, and then becomes like a super strong Shunibyu. He's just the kind of the same dude throughout the game. We just learn more and more. The more we have him in our party, the more we learn about the story. We learn that he's the prince. We learn that, you know, the worldviews he has. And, you know, at first you think he's the comic relief character. And obviously he's the comic relief character, but he has more than just that behind his mask. Or his one shining eye patch justice, you know. Where Moak, for example, you know, you don't really have anything added onto that. You have the mundane story with her brother, who is... I don't think he's on this list, like the... Oh wait, I mean, he shows up twice, right? Like Neil and... No, Neil is the one who is her brother, and Hugo is the one they basically just reused. Neil is kind of like, whatever, well, he's the cute brother of Moak, who is, you know, kind of whatever. Then we have Hugo, who is also whatever. Like, they just knew, oh, we need a tank dude. Obviously it fits with Bridget and Mordain, you know, put him into the game, he doesn't really add much, you can remove him against anyone else and it won't change anything. But, you know, he's kind of cool. Like, he also dies, sadly, but that's the cycle of life. Without him dying, other things couldn't have happened. Neil wouldn't maybe be born without him dying in that moment where he died, you know. But anyways, you know, Neil, I mean, the one quest where Moak, I think, steals the underwear of her brother, that's kind of PogChamp. Then, you know, we haven't done a single Xenoblade 3 character so far. Let's go with Mamba. Well, Mamba is probably a nice guy that had death flags all over him from the very start, where I was knowing that he's gonna die. I think there's even files about how he is supposedly a hero, or he was supposed to be a hero. Maybe they changed it, maybe he will come as a hero. Obviously, the one sad thing about it is that, you know, when you do Kamuravi's side quest, where he goes to the city, and obviously Ethel comes up again and stuff like that, but, you know, when you go to the colony that Y has, you know, where also Miyabi comes from again, where they basically get like reborn as like 10th termers already without their memories, but then the memories come back because of the melodies and music and everything. The other guy who's like the Mamba of, you know, Mio and everyone, Hacked, I think, he shows up and he doesn't even show up here. Like, poor Mamba, poor Hacked. And the thing is, you know, I felt bad for Mamba when they were like, hey, you know what, Mamba shows up, but, you know, cool, but we're gonna talk about Kamuravi now. And it's like, well, I feel so bad for Mamba. Like, they were like, yeah, we will miss you if you ever die, Mamba. Your homecoming is so soon. We will miss you so badly. You were like our guiding shine light in the darkness, and then everyone just stops giving a fuck when he shows up again, and they go like, heh, Kamuravi's my new best friend. Then we also have Jonas. I know his name is Joan, but the thing is, he reminds me of the song My Name is Jonas from Weezer, and he probably listens to Weezer. You know, I'm not gonna say that Weezer is for losers, because I'm listening to them too, but I am the loser, so maybe I'm saying that. He's kind of like, whatever, like, you kind of knew he was gonna show up again, maybe not as Mobius, but, you know, the second you saw the little tiny Mobius dude with the helmet, you kind of connected the dots, because if you see a character dying with all the corpse in fiction, he's not dead. I have to say, like, that they live, they will come back somehow. So you knew he's gonna show up again, because they showed too much of him without him showing up yet. So you knew he's gonna show up one day. And the thing is, I didn't feel too sad. Like, obviously, I felt sad when, you know, they had the flashback after he dies, where Lance is like, you know, they are kids again with the white light in the background. Lance is like, see you around, Jonas. I know, Joanne, but again, you know, Pinkerton is also not Weezer's best album. For me, the Blue album is their best album. Maybe the hot take. Pinkerton is second ranked though. You know, I wasn't really sad at his death. I kind of thought, you know, it was preventable. And, you know, if we already talk about those scenes, Quai, please leave me alone. The thing is, I know he was the mentor of Noah, who was like, hey, you know, want to become an officer too. But the way the story kind of forces their side story down your throat just made me think this felt very forced. Like, you just had Joanne do the same, like, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for the greater good. I was a good guy once, I came back as Mobius, and now I'm gonna kill myself to get a redemption. And now Chris suddenly shows up or quiz, and he's gonna be like, hey, you know what, Noah, you have to fight me for no fucking reason at all, and if you don't, you go and get the stupid metal shot that I yoinked, and you need that to build the hacking boosted boat, and if you don't fight me and kill me, you can't get it. And then you have to kill him instead of just saying, hey, why don't you just join us? We have fucking Twilton here. Twilton, where are you? Twilton? Here he is. Like, he's a Mobius who turned into an old senile grandpa who's like, yeah, I stopped doing evil shit because I am now gonna be a man of the sea. Xenogears reference. And he's a cool mother trucker. And why couldn't just Chris say, hey, you know what, Noah, I'm gonna join you? Why couldn't they just say, oh, another Mobius that turns nice in the main story? Like, Zed doesn't give a fuck, to be honest. Like, Zed wouldn't just say, oh, you know what? He would just say, hey, that's very amusing. I like that. More entertainment for me. Let him join them. Like, they didn't need to kill him off. They didn't need to make him... Like, it just felt like, oh, we just had this subplot already. Why? We even had it with Miyabi, kinda. Like, Miyabi suddenly shows up again because we also knew she supposedly died, but then she shows up again, no corpse again, and it's like there's like so many people suddenly getting forced into your face again that are supposedly be dead, but they come back as bad guys, and now you turn them into good guys again. I felt, it felt rushed at certain points. Like, the chapter 6 and 7, not a low point of the game, like, they are still good, but, this is not a Xenoblade 3 discussion, but it just felt, the thing is, Miyabi is a nice person. She's like Mumbat here. She's really cute. She can play the flute well, and that's what I'm gonna say. Gondor is a hard one. I would put her between probably a nice person because she is a nice person, or whatever, kinda. Like, I wouldn't really know. Like, she's already here in the between line, kinda. Where I'm kinda like, yeah, she's a brat, but a nice brat. She means well, obviously, with Shania and stuff. She could have been a better friend. The thing is, maybe my first really big hot take, I would hang out with Shania, I have to say. In the main story, you maybe don't understand why she's doing this stuff. Like, if you beat the Senna extension quest, which isn't very much about Senna really, you learn a little bit more about the backstory about Shania, and obviously I'm not trying to say that she should have done those things despite her past. Like, we see her sister die, and she took over her sister's, gun to become like her sister, because her sister was, I think also knew a boss candidate who was way better at shooting the gun than her, because all Shania wanted to shoot was paint at the wall to paint a nice picture, but sadly, the only person who really told her to do that was her dad, and then the dad died, and also Gondor kind of told her to pursue that passion, but Gondor didn't really say it in a way where that made you think, oh, that was a little bit too late when she said it in the side quest then. Like, we see, obviously, cutscenes from the past, and, she kind of like, hey, you can paint really nice, and, you kind of start to think, Shania, you're an idiot, but you kind of just think, Shania's mom is just the worst one in the game. Like, she can fuck right off. I wish she would get a heart attack, but a really painful one, and then she just wiggles around on the floor. Like, even after Shania, she attacks the city, obviously not good. She never killed someone in the city, though. She kinda would have killed the city with the Annihilator, so I'm not gonna protect her about that. And she goes a little bit deeper when you know about the backstory. Like, I do think she kind of feels like a character that makes you think, why is she doing all of this? What happened? When you don't play her backstory, but I would recommend playing her backstory. Yeah, I do like her character, but it is a tragic story. It doesn't justify the things she done, obviously, but obviously, people will probably think, why would you hang out with her? She's also cute, and I would try to fix her. This little kid, who was this again? I think he hangs out with the very nice woman here, who is here, this girl, which I forgot the name of. Obviously, the girl who turned nice. I'm very jealous of him, to be honest. Then we have Borealis, who is nice person. I mean, he's a little bit of a sim for Ethel, and it kind of makes you think, dude, she won't fuck you, she has come over Ravi, and he, you know, you would also think he just really respects her, you know, like she's a great commander and everything. And he's a nice person. He's kind of like, yeah, he's kind of cool guy. Like, for some reason, I kind of thought, you know, he's not gonna be a cool guy, but he turns into a cool guy. That makes you think, hey, you know, this guy is pretty nice. Okay, and next up, you know, let's take this guy who I don't know who it is. We have Melia's dad, who's a nice person. Like, I was kind of sad that he got killed. And the thing is, I have to tell a little story. I played through Xenoblade 1 with the British dub, till to a little bit around Prison, after Prison Island. And then I read that Metal Face, you know, Mamka, has Norio Wakamoto as his Japanese voice actor, and I was like, what? I have to change. I have to change from the English dub immediately to the Japanese one. I didn't even know that was possible from the start. Obviously, I'm a weeb. I played these Xenoblade games in Japanese first, then afterwards I always do it English, redub, replay through, which I haven't done with Xenoblade 3 yet, that's still too fresh. And you know, when I read that he's, you know, Wakamoto in Japanese, I was like, I need to find a way to play it in Japanese. Obviously, it's just an option in the menus. And then boom, you can listen to glorious Wakamoto. And the thing is, the dad of Melia in Japanese is the voice actor of Kiri, hopefully I pronounced it right, in the Fate series. You know, the old priest, and he's also with Wakamoto one of my favorite voice actors in Japanese, and I was kind of sad to find out after he literally never comes up again, except in some few cutscenes, like flashbacks. That kind of made me sad, and that's all I really remember about him. I mean, he kind of dies, and he was in a cool scene. He's a nice person, like he wanted the best for Melia. You know, I would also die for Melia. She's the most fun character to play in Xenoblade 1. She's also the most unfortunate character because nothing goes her way. And you know, her brother, also a nice person, also dies. He turns into a Telephia, I think, which is not very nice to do, probably. But yeah, not much else that I can say about him. But Melia, you know, just because she's fun to play, the thing is, she kinda gets sidelined after Fiora joins again. You know, I feel sad for her. In Xenoblade 3, she's even cuter. Nice princess, nice queen. I mean, she's a better queen than Nia, but I would rather be Nia's. I would rather, you know, be in Nia's castle. Because better architecture, better music in their castle, or in the Ascension grounds. One of my favorite Xenoblade 3 track. But obviously, she's more like a Xenoblade 2 character, and the thing is, you know, I do also, like I said, I played through it in Japanese first. My second playthrough, I played it in English. And the thing is, you know, most people fell in love with her because of her Welsh accent in the English version of the game. But I think even in Japanese, and I played also Xenoblade 3 in Japanese, so I, you know, I did have like this hawk moment of recognizing her voice, but you do recognize her voice anyways. Like, you know it's Nia, right? But it's nice. Like, the thing is, I remember her Japanese voice. Like, it was not like, oh, you know, I only can recognize it in English, but that's not even the point here. But basically, one of my, I mean, maybe even my most favorite Xenoblade 2 character favorite. Like, Nia is just cool. She's sassy. She's smart. She's cute. She has everything. She's a little bit moody sometimes, like a little bit asshole-ish, standoffish at times, but that makes her so great. Like, she's a character with flaws, a character that is just perfect. I mean, Nia, perfect character arc, very cute design. Like, what negativities or what negative things are there even to be said about Nia? I can't think of a single one. I can't think of a single time where I would think, Nia, this was a bad move. Look, obviously you could say, oh, you know, she could have came out earlier so Van Damme didn't have to die in the start of the game, you know, when Rex dies. You can kind of see like this, you know, where she sees Rex's dies, you can see her pumping her fist. Like, not pumping her fist, but you can see, you know, when the camera kind of zooms out of Rex's body with the other member of Torna, there's like the camera shot where she like, how is it called in English when you just fist your fist, like you put your paw into your fist, where she's like, she's really mad at herself for letting it happen, that literally a fucking kid got stabbed by Jin. Like, she's mad at herself that she didn't save him. And obviously she didn't know he didn't die really, but, you know, and she's pissed at herself that she doesn't have the courage to come out already. Like, she didn't have the courage to save Rex, she didn't have the courage to save Van Damme. But then, you know, she did it with Niall, which is a goofy kind of scene, because it's a little bit like the circumstances and everything, the way it explodes and he's the only one that kind of gets hit and everything. It's a little bit goofy, but when she finally comes out and comes to terms with herself, and it's like, hey, you know, this is who I am, Rex. And, you know, nowadays we do know that. I mean, the thing is, there's a post-battle dialogue after that scene happens anyways, you know, Rex, I love all of you guys. That showed my fingers free, and he really did, haha. Where, you know, he goes like, hey, do you want to talk about that one time? You know, you kind of do know that Rex isn't as dense as you may think he is, but in a way, that's just who Rex is. In that moment, he was dense, but afterwards, he thinks about things that people tell him, the things that people talk about. Like, Rex is, I would die for him. I think he's my go-to Xenoblade MC. Shulk and Noah, not bad characters at any means, but they are kind of characters that have no real flaws. Like, Shulk is kind of like revenge, and then he is like, oh, okay, no more revenge. But he's kind of like, the thing is, the one thing I always say about Shulk is like, he has the visions, he never tells people about it. He's like, oh, I saw something in the future, but I can talk about that, I shouldn't tell people. I kind of hated that about him. And the thing is, he's kind of like a whatever kind of person. Like, he's like kind of a nerd. He's not bad, he's inoffensive, but it doesn't really make you think. He does what he needs to do in a way. Like, he's not a bad MC by any means, but he's just kind of something that makes you think he needed a little bit more edge, and not the edginess from, oh, I'm gonna kill all of you, fuck you, you killed my girlfriend, I'm gonna kill all of you now, genocide the Machina. Aside from that edginess, like a little bit more oomph in his character, like edging with people, not that kind of edging. I can't really, you know, explain it really. He's just very, you know, he's just very whatever. And the thing is, I kind of have the same opinion about Noah. He's also a nice person, but he really never really made me think, wow, let's go, Noah, let's go. He has really, like, he's just kind of perfect, too perfect for me. He doesn't really have those goofy moments where he's like making a goof of himself. Like, obviously he knows a little bit of humor here and there, but he's just kind of too inoffensive. Like, he's even more inoffensive than Shulk. Like, you don't see any flaws in him. Like, he has no flaws. And the thing is, when you put him against N, Noah really has never a choice that makes him have to choose what Noah had to choose. Like if we I'm not gonna put N into probably a nice person. When you put them beside each other, Noah is like too perfect to really make you think that he can relate to N. Like, obviously Noah touches his N's son and everything, and he's like, how could you have done this? How could you have killed these people just to live out your lives with Mio? Like, we never really think that Noah is the same Noah as N, and that's the point. Like, they are not the same people despite being the same people. Noah is like, or N is like more like Noah, who got turned into the insanity because, you know, he saw multiple lives, and he didn't want to go through that anymore. He didn't want to suffer anymore. He just wanted this perfect life, even if it comes at the terms of other people having to suffer. Even if he had to wipe out the old city, he didn't care anymore. He just wanted to live out his life with Mio, even if Mio, or not Mio, like other Mio didn't want that. And, you know, he broke, because every time he got this choice, he was like, I know it's not the right thing to do, but I can't. I want to put myself in front of other people for now. I think my own happiness at this point, for me, is more important than the happiness of the other people I have to kill to get my own happiness. And with Noah, you never feel that. Noah never gets a decision where he's like, oh, you have to choose. What path do you want to go? Like, he never gets this impossible choice that Anne had to go through. Like, Noah is too perfect in that kind of way, if that makes sense. Where I felt like, you know, we see this and Noah who has to go through all this pain of losing his son, losing Miu when they were really in love already. Like obviously Noah and Miu are also in love, but you don't have this decision. You never have. Noah here never had to make the decision of letting her go. Like obviously in chapter 5 at the end of it, the homecoming and everything, there was nothing he could have done, you know, in a certain way. It was just the end. He didn't had to choose. He didn't get to choose. Like we see the cutscene with the hooded person who is Mio basically, and she's like, you know, this is who you were, but now you're different kinda. Now you're like perfect. Now you wouldn't say, like if you got the decision, you would say no to it anyways. You know, if that makes sense. Like I would hang out with the old Noah. Obviously hanging out with it, it's more like I liked his arc. I thought N is very humanized. It makes sense. You know, it makes you think, would I do that? Obviously, I don't know. I would not. I've never felt love so intensely like he did for his Mio. That he literally kills his own people, basically, just to get the choice to live forever with her. But it's relatable. It makes you think, okay, I can see where he's coming from. And then Noah is like, hey, how could you do this? How could you just kill people to gain your own happiness? And it feels like, Noah, you don't get the big picture, do you? Right? So Noah is like kind of like too perfect for me to really relate to him in a way that makes me think he can feel the pain of this Noah. There was always a little bit missing. And then even the end, you know, it never really quite made me feel like he understood them really. Or he really never really understood N itself. You know, he tried talking to him, but he didn't really knew the words. Like he says basically that he get it, but you know, it's, you know, but obviously there's not a Noah N decision. Let's go to Juniper, and you know, what I wouldn't give for some they them green-haired cat person pussy. Too bad her, not her, their class kinda sucks, sadly. You know, that's kinda sad. She also doesn't have the best. It's so hard. They don't have the best hero quest, but they have a great design, very cute, and you know, just for the one cutscene where Kite meets Juniper, I would hang out with Juniper. I should just have said Juniper, so I couldn't have made a mistake. You know, but non-binary rights and everything. What else do we have? Dagas? Or Dagus? Dagas? I mean, I love his animation where he sits on his throne when he's idling around, but he's kind of whatever. I forgot his name. He has a great design. He's a Shadowblade. There's not too many of those, but also kind of whatever. Finch, please don't kill me. Kind of whatever. I forgot her name. Kind of whatever. I do know that the character designer of her was also the Barton Kaitos guy. Really great JRPGs for Barton Kaitos and Barton Kaitos Origins. Origins is like one of those games that uses, I mean, maybe they're a little bit spoiled, so if you don't want to get spoiled about Barton Kaitos, skip 10 seconds. Basically in Barton Kaitos, the Origins, the final boss theme is also the main theme, and that's really cool. Over, spoiler. I would recommend those if you, I mean, the thing is the card battle system is maybe not for everyone. But I do recommend them to maybe see like the early steps of Monolith when they don't do Xeno stuff. Very recommendable. In, you know, if you don't like to emulate, the games are still kinda not too expensive, so maybe go buy them right now because they become Chibi Robo, Paper Mario kind of tier. Obviously, but other than that, emulate it, please. If you don't want to pay so much, if you want to emulate, like I've seen people who say, no, I don't want to emulate, I buy them, even though Nintendo don't even get money from that. Like, come on, just emulate, please. Don't give in to people who pay or who sell stuff way too high prices. Hobbybuster, nice person. I do love Hobbybuster's little double point. I don't even know the name of that thing. Double point, three face, you know, the cat face thing. Pirun, also a nice person. I used her a lot. She's like kind of fun. She has very big jiggle physics. You know, in general, you know, if you look at Pyre, for example, her boobies never jiggle too much, but then you look at Paywoon and jiggle. At least that's kind of how I remember it. Also, the jiggle physics in Xenoblade 3 are like even more intense. Like, look at Monica or Ethel's boobs. Jesus. You know, there's people who say there's no fan service in 3, but there's a lot if you look at the jiggle physics. We have, what's his name, Corin? Like, basically his Kirito from Sword Art Online. Well, whatever. The only thing I remember about his late quest is kind of that Tora basically drops that Marcel is a racist. But that's all I remember about it, really. Mui, I think. Why do I even remember his name? Mui is like... He's just the comic relief character of Chapter 4 and kinda Chairman Banner too. Like, they're just in Xenoblade 2, they're like, look at these idiots. They're turning Giga Woza, or they're turning Woza into a Giga Woza robot. And, you know, despite all the hate Chapter 4 gets, I do love the Chapter 4 because it just, you know, that's the one aspect about Xenoblade 2 I love. I love the anime as fuck troops. I love the stupidness of it all. Like, imagine a mecha Giga thing in Xenoblade 3. It would not fit. It would just make you think, well, why? Like, they knew in Xenoblade 3 the silliness has to be contained in a certain degree, where silliness is only allowed in like little bursts. Like, Uni is a really good silly person. Like, she is good at making people laugh. She's good at making people think, Uni, you just said that, didn't you, you muppet? And, you know, but there's like no silly big moments that make you think, holy shit, this feels out of place. Like, there's obviously humor in Xenoblade 3, but it's never like going to the upper limits of Xenoblade 2. And Xenoblade 2 also knows that sometimes it shouldn't be too crazy. Like, the last few chapters, you know, towards the end, they don't have this silliness. A little bit, but, you know, not a Giga robot. Like, they get the silliness out of the way. And that's what I love about Xenoblade 2. There's so many silly moments that make you think. It makes your eyes watch maybe even, but I do love that. I do love this mixed silliness with really, you know, nice serious moments. And obviously I think there's people who probably can't take it serious because of that, but, you know, I do love it. Also, Noof is staring into my soul from down here. And I have to say, she's one, I love her freaking design, the way she talks. I just love her design. Like, there's not enough fan out of her. Like, obviously, the thing is, I would lick her abs. Like, the thing is, this is a Kuma moment. This is 100% a certified Kuma moment, okay? I have to be honest here. I just love her design so much that I would die for her. Like, something about her design just makes you think, Jesus Christ, this is, like, so crazy designed. I could understand when people look at that abomination, basically, for them, and they would be like, what the fuck is this design? But for me, it hits all of the design sweet spots. And her personality, you know, I would bootlick her. I would let her kick me around. I would bootcamp 5 weeks for her. I would do anything for her, basically. Flowen. Also, I would hang out with Flowen. He's a cute guy. He's a good boy. His class with the bit ball is kind of not so fun to play. But to be honest, yeah, he's cute. Maybe another Kuma moment right here, but, you know, I mean, this isn't just about personality, you know, it's also about the designs. When I think a design is, like, really, really strong, the thing is, I just realized I put Mamba into probably a nice person. I think he probably deserves more whatever person, but, you know, the guy, I mean, isn't he the Vandam of Xenoblade 1? I don't think he's caught like that, or is he? All I know is that he's the one who says, don't crash the artillery into the house, or something like that, and I think it became like a very big meme, which you know, the thing is, you know, I'm not a big part of the Xenoblade community. I don't talk about Xenoblade really. I don't really Google it on Twitter, or search for it on Twitter, you know, I don't discuss it really. So I'm not in touch, you know, with everything that is, like, related to memes, and everything like that. To be honest, I don't think it's very funny. But, you know, he looks like a nice person. I would hang out with him. I mean, but not in a good way. Never mind. Let's do the Queen of Uraya. Sie ist nicht mehr known. she kind of gives me wrong feelings. She gives me wrong vibes. I'm not even elaborate on that. This guy who is like Sharla's, well, he's not her dad, but he's kind of like, you know, the leader of the village from Colony. I mean, was it Colony 6? Was he the leader of there? I think kind of like he plays a big part there in the mines and everything. He's kind of like whatever. The thing is, I know Dixon is not a very nice person, but I do love his art. He's kind of like Mamka, where he's kind of like an asshole, but I felt sad, you know, when we killed him and he's just slumping down besides the stone, or, you know, with his back to the stone, and the cigarette drops, and Shug is like... it hit me kinda. It didn't make me cry, but it made me feel this is a manly death, you know, like Dixon makes me think, cool dude. Then we have Milton. He's a nice dude too. I mean, I do love cat boys. I would hang out with him. Sadly that he dies, you know, poor dude. But Milton, yeah, his interactions with Mithra are really cute too. You know, like Mithra is first like, oh, this dude, I hate him. But obviously, you know, over the course of the game in Torna, you kind of, you know, they start to, you know, don't have like this, oh, I hate this guy tease kind of feeling. It's like, no, I tease you because I care about you feeling. It's like really heartwarming to see. Captain Patrick, I think that's how you say his name. I forgot about him. And I don't think I ever took him. You know, I forgot him, you know, reference, you know. The thing is, nowadays you could say, haha, who was this again? I totally forgot about him. You will have at least a few people say, oh, you know, that's Captain Patrick, and he says his famous line, don't forget me. And, oh, maybe that's the joke you just wanted to make, haha, because he says, don't forget me, haha, and you forgot him, haha. So, you know, Nimue, a nice person. You know, also one of those things in Xenoblade 3 where you think, oh, this person is dead. Haha, just kidding. I'm not dead. And yeah, Issard, also kind of like a nice person. I mean, he's more like a whatever kind of person. I mean, he's kind of like very nice to Tyron. Tyron looks really up to him, and I have to say, I would die for Tyron. Like, I did not expect Tyron to become one of my favorite ones from the Xenoblade 3 cast. The thing about Town is, when you first watch the trailers, you know, when Xenoblade 3 was announced, he has the glasses, he does the push-up glasses move, and you would think, oh, okay, he's gonna be that guy who's like the tactician of the group, and he became that. And, you know, he's the guy, oh, I don't trust anyone. Oh, you don't want to follow my plan? Fuck you. You follow my plan now. But the thing is, he's insecure, he's cute about it. The thing is, you know, obviously he kind of wants to push himself, but, you know, he never really feels like that he's trying to force people to do his stuff. Like, he's not like an overall smug, arrogant tactician that you normally see in, like, anime, where they push up their gloves and go like, hey, I have a perfect plan for this. His plans sometimes even fail. He sometimes doesn't go after the plan, he goes after his comrades, you know? He doesn't just pick the plan that he thinks is the best, he thinks about, okay, this plan might be not the best, but it's best for my friends. And, you know, the baby finger touching scene is just, you know, it's so cute. Like, he's like so happy seeing the baby and touching the baby. Out of context, it sounds maybe a little bit weird, but, you know, he's also like, he has so much character in the little things. Like in the scene where the homecoming is with Mio, you know, all the other guys like push the guy who captured them off the stage. Like, you know, like Rico kicks him while jumping at him with a kickflip, and, you know, Yuni is like also kicking, Lance is like bam bam. And, you know, then we have Tyron, who is obviously the weakest one. Like, he's even weaker than Rico in that scene, where he's like struggling to shove them off. It's like, it adds so much flair to the characters, especially also at the end, you know, the ending where he gets on his knees. Like, it just makes you think, whoa, why did you do it to him? Like, I did not expect him to become, I would maybe even say, my favorite of the Xenoblade 3 cast. The thing is, then we have Mio. And the thing is, with Mio and Noah, I love the relationship. I love how it slowly develops. The way how Mio never wants to say the name Noah. Like, the first time Noah hears the name Noah was not even from the real Mio. It was from M's Mio. Because he probably didn't know that they never called each other that name, even though there's more layers. Like, the thing is, if you analyze it, you would probably realize that the old Miu, you know, the 1,000 years, I mean, she wasn't 1,000 years, but the ends, that end Miu's probably saw her old Noah in the new Noah, where she's like, I really wish my Noah would be the same again. And that's why she also felt so heartbroken. Like, she had to act like, oh, I wish to learn and live more. No, she had to kind of assume the role of the Miu that we knew, while also making it even more heartbreaking for her by thinking, you know, this Noah that is like a prison cell away from me. That's my Noah that I want back. That's the Noah I missed for so long because my Noah went crazy yandere mode. And now I kind of forgot my plot that I was talking about from the start. But Miu again, just like Noah, they feel too perfect. Like, they don't really have edges around them. The thing is, I also wanted to say more about Wax, but then I went on a tangent with Noah and Anne. You know, they feel perfect for each other because they're just perfect for each other. They have no edges around them. They like they're just perfect in a way. They don't really have flaws that make me think, wow, they have flaws. They can just do anything really. We never really see them in a way where you go like, I don't agree with you, idiot. And I do like having a main character you disagree sometimes with. Sometimes where you go like, dude, don't do that. That's a stupid move. But also not in a way where you go like, okay, that's too stupid. That is something that nobody would ever do. Like, I never really disagreed with them doing their actions in a way. Like, when you have Rex, for example, he's a goofy idiot. You know, when Venom tells him to run, he doesn't run. He's like, oh, you know what? These two guys just beat my ass, like Echoes and Malos. They kick my ass, but I don't give a fuck. I will try to defend it, even though I know I shouldn't. And, you know, he learns, he grows, he has a character arc. Obviously, Noah, I don't want to say he has no character arc, same with Shulk. Like, Shulk changes revenge to, you know, trying to save both nations now and everything like that. Noah also grows, but he doesn't really have the growth where you think. They have very natural growth. Like Noah and Miu, they start at 0 and they learn more about the world. They know about what love is. They know about what kids are. It's very heartwarming to see and everything, but they don't make me think like how I felt about Rex sometimes. Like, Rex made me think, dude, I'm pulling out my hairs. Why would you do this? But then you go like, that's just the silly little dude I came to laugh around. You know, like, people hate on Rex because for them, he seems like the very optimistic little 15-year-old dude. But we also learn that he's very mature for his age. Like, he's like, obviously that sounds like a Guma word to use, but he's kind of mature. Like, he sends money to the village that he takes care of. He takes care of the orphanage there, kind of, with the money he makes. He works. He wants to make the world a better place. Like, he's just not a 15-year-old who just fucks around, like, fucking around with, like, oh, you know, how to say, like, I want to live like a 15-year-old. He doesn't live like that. He works, he makes the money to save people. He wants to save people already. Like, we know that he's just a tiny little good-hearted dude who wants the best for everyone, and he comes to the decision, or he comes to terms with that sometimes you can't protect everyone. Sometimes you have to let go, you know. And, you know, in the end, people say, oh, yo, you know, that decision that he lets go of Para and Mithra, he never gets really punished for it. He even gets rewarded for it by getting them back, right? But that's like the point. If he didn't let go, if he just tried to force him, like, if you compare it to the scene with Van Damme, Van Damme dies because of him. I mean, Van Damme would have kind of died even if he ran, I think, but in a way, you know, he didn't want to accept it. And in chapter 6 it happens again, you know, like where he just forcefully tries to, you know, make what is it called? Make his way go the way that he wants to go. Where he goes like, hey, you know, we have to fight. We have to, you know, and then, you know, in the final chapter, you know, he finally shows that, hey, you know, I fucking hate letting go. I don't want to let go of Paramithra. But for example, if he would have went with them and would have killed himself too, you know, to stop the annihilation of the world with the world tree and everything, he would have died. He would have not come back. But the way he lets go and says, yeah, I don't agree with this decision, but I know I have to fucking let go this time. That shows that, you know, he realizes, hey, I have to grow over this shit. I have to actually, you know, accept it. I have to accept it. I have to get over it. And that's sometimes that people think, oh, he finally let go. Ooh, oh, now he gets too hot boobies. You know, if people want to think that way, they can think that way. Cassandra, very cute. I would hang out with. I mean, the thing is, the one thing that she's a nice person. I would not hang out with her. She would make my life even shittier than it already is with her unluckiness. But yeah, she's a nice blade. The thing is, she's a nice blade. I love her design, but I don't like the big hammer. I don't like playing hammers. Like, when you think about hammer, you think about Senna. And I have to say, I would die for her too. Like, Senna, she's so freaking cute. I want her to, I want the best for her. I want her to try very hard. And the thing is, she's insecure. But insecurities, we all have them. Even if we try our best, we sometimes think it's not enough. But I think, if you try your best, even if you don't succeed, you should be proud of yourself. Senna, you should be proud of yourself. I almost cried when she tried to sacrifice herself with Lance. It made me think, really? Like, it made me more cry than Mio's homecoming, because I kind of thought there was something up, like, she's not dying. Like, if it was the end of the game, closer to the end of the game, because when I played chapter 5, I kind of expected the game to have 10 chapters. So I thought, it's not gonna end so soon. So I kind of was like, yeah, something is up here. Like, maybe they're gonna get thrown into the cycle again, and then something else will happen, But I kind of knew she's not gonna stay dead, and she didn't really, so... but with Lance and Senna's scene where, they tried to kill Anne, even though the thing is, they grabbed Anne, and why didn't Anne just teleport away? Maybe, Morbius can't teleport if they get grabbed, I don't know. I don't know if that ever got, like, solved or anything, but Anne could have just teleported away. But then, they try to sacrifice themselves by flying up and annihilate themselves with him. It made me think, like, no, fuck off both of you. Don't do that to me. Both Lance and Senna, they grew on me. I did not expect us to want to die for Lance. Like, these three, I mean, who else is there for the main characters? I mean, Uni. The two main characters who get, like, the most development and everything are the ones that didn't click too much with me, while the ones where you think, obviously they grow too. It's like seeing your own child grow up. Like, obviously the main character of Xenoblade 3 is like people who don't know what you know. Like, it's a really weird feeling sometimes when you hear people ask, what is a city? You go like, hey, obviously a city is a fucking city. How do you not know that? But you see these characters who have never seen a city before, see a city for the first time, a baby. They learn about the world, how the world is supposed to be. And it feels like you grow with them. Kinda, in a way. And it makes you think, these are my kids. I want them to go out there and learn and live their life how they want to be. Like, Uni is just funny. I love her. Like, the way she talks, even in Japanese, I love the English memes about her, like, Lance wants a bit meteor, or, all these swear words she says, bollocks in it, minging. She's just perfect. She's also not overdoing it. Like, with Gondor, you feel like she's a little bit overdoing it. Where was Gondor again? In, well, whatever, right? Wait, where did Gondor go? Am I blind? Oh, there she is. Probably a nice person. With Gondor, I sometimes felt like I felt a little bit forced with how much she swears. But with Uni, I don't have that feeling. With Uni, it felt more natural. Obviously, Uni gets way more screen time. And Gondor is like, every time she shows up, she's like, bitch queen, Dax. With Uni, it didn't feel forced like that. Also, I didn't really say anything about Lance, but Lance is also just, he's a puppet, a Muppet, but he's my Muppet. Like, he's just, you don't I mean, the thing is, I see people comparing with Wayne, but Wayne is like, Wayne is, I mean, the thing is, I would even put him under the Shulk. Like, he's, whatever, Shala is like, I almost want, she's between please leave me alone and well, whatever. She is just there. The thing is, that's what the main cast of Xenoblade 1, that's the biggest problem. It's the Shulk show in a way. Like, Dunban is cool as heck. I would hang out with him, but Dunban doesn't really have much, really. Like, obviously there's like character drama with him and his sister and everything, but he's kind of like all of the main characters of Xenoblade 1 never made me feel like, wow, these guys are like, I mean, I love Ricky, but he's nothing more than just a person I would hang out with in a way, you know? Like, Wiki makes me think he's the comic relief, but he's not more than that. He doesn't really have any edges again, you know? You don't really, like, obviously he's a father of 11 children or something, and he's in debt, and he needs to go on an adventure to solve it. Like, he's not more than really that, you know? Like, then you have, for example, Tora, and you know, this is probably my, that's where people are gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna fucking close this list now, because Tora does not deserve this, to be this high up. But the thing is, I would say, Tora deserves it. I love Tora, I have to say it. I don't mind his pervy little quirks. I think he's funny. You know, I just like him. I think he's funny. I would hang out with him. I mean, I would even die for him. Like, behind him, I don't want to call him a deep character, but, you know, the way he made Poppy to finally fulfill his wish. Obviously, you know, you can say, oh, he objectifies Poppy and everything. But in a way, you know, I don't think he would ever have sex with Poppy, to be honest. Hopefully. Like, it's more like... The thing is, you know, I sometimes have to differentiate between someone really meaning the things they say and sometimes not knowing better. In a way, I would kind of think like this is the way Tora just grew up. I mean, his data porn was also, I mean, you see the influence of his data porn, and, you know, he's just, that's how he grew up. It's not his fault in a way. He could grow, and he kind of does grow, but obviously in a way, you know, he's just the comic relief character, but I think he has more to him than just the comic relief. Like, he's kind of like the punching bag too, you know, like, he says something stupid and people are going to be like, oh, that's so our Tora. And then they actually teach them about how that wasn't really okay in a way. Like, Bridget is like, hey, how do you see women? And she's like, hey, you know, I think we need to talk about the way you see women. And, you know, I would hang out with Bridget. And Bridget is really nice. I mean, she's like the dignified lady. And she's also Morak's girlfriend. And it just makes you think she's nice. She's a nice lady. I would hang out with her for a nice tea time. And then, you know, you drink your tea together or your tea together. And everyone will have fun. You listen to her stories and she will probably tell you nice stories. And you are very much listening to them while drinking some tea and eating some biscuits and things like that. Then we have the book Nerdblade, which I forgot the name of. Something with Annette. Why is the name Annette in my head right now? I don't know. I would almost even say would hang out with, because I used her a lot on Nier. And her design is absolutely top A grade. Like, one of the best blade designs in the game. And I have to take a sip of my Pepsi Max. Not sponsored or anything, but, you know, Pepsi Max is the best soda for me. Okay. Okay, then we have my next absolute goat, Shiba. Obviously, big hot take moment. I don't think anyone would put Shiba into an absolute goat moment, but just for kicking that Noppon in her side quest, she deserves it. And the thing is, I'm gonna drop another hot take. Her fucking design is the best blade design in the whole game. Obviously, you look at it and you think, why is she in a fucking bathtub? Why is she... What the fuck is that design? She has drill. She has twin-tail drills, kinda. That are like, you know, Gurren Lagann that basically can dig through a whole galaxy, basically. She's in a bathtub. She's a lesbian. She's perfect. The thing is, I wish I could go to one of her sleepovers, but sadly, she wouldn't invite me. But yeah, Shiba is just... I love her personality. I love her design. Like, obviously, in the greater sense of the story in the game, she does nothing. She has a funny side quest though, she has a great design. Obviously you would say, oh, then put her into Would Die For, but no, for me, she's a goat. And the thing is, the saddest thing is that most of the rare blades in Xenoblade 2 never really got the amount of fan art they deserved. Newt, Korra, Shiba, you know, sadly they never just got what they deserved. This guy, who was the evil fucker from Torna, who made like God into an even bigger, disgusting looking thing. Yeah, please leave him alone. Then we have the cowardly brother, who obviously planned stuff with Amalthus after Torna, you know, to really make Tansel into what we know it from Xenoblade 2, I think. Like, that's the whole point, that he's like, hey, yo, we're the ascendants from Adam, look at me. You know, because he's an asshole. Then we have God, please leave him alone. I mean, he's just a one-off kind of character that makes you think, yeah, do we really need him? Not really, but, you know, he makes Laura look even cooler, so... Okay, then we have Laura. I would hang out with Laura. Again, she is again one of those characters where you could say the same about Chuck and everything, but I like her design more than all the other MCs, like Noah and Shulk. And in a way, she's just cool. Like, she's not that much of a character in a certain way, but also her dynamic with Jin really neat to follow and really nice to watch, with how they hang out together, how they fall in love basically. Like, they were basically a romantic couple, like, you can tell me otherwise. I think they were in love, obviously, very obviously, but you know, we don't see a kiss or sadly something like that. I mean, he kind of ate her, and that's probably the most intimidating thing you can do to another person, I guess. So Jin has a part of her inside. So Pandoria, my beloved, I love her design. And the thing is, one of the coolest designs is that her glasses are fucked up if you don't know her backstory together with Zeke. But then you actually learn about her backstory with Zeke, and boom, the glasses are unfucked. The thing is, I kind of wish that the glasses would stay fogged, because I do love fogged glasses in anime and everything like that. I also love, like, spiral glasses, and Pandoria's design, she has a freaking light bulb and everything, because she's electricity, get it? Like, her design is fucking great. Like, I love her design. She's funny to be around. The way Zeke and Pandoria always, you know, mimics each other's animations makes me very happy to see them. It kind of made me sad that at the end of Xenoblade 3 they don't have kids too. Maybe they did. Valdi. Let's go with I Would Die For Him. He's cute. He has one of my favorite Japanese voice actors, like MAO in Japanese. Oh, no, wait, MAO was Ashira. What's her name again? Like, he has a female voice actor. I do know that in the English dub, they actually used a real kid for him, which is pretty neat. Like, you don't really hear that often, that they actually use real kids as voice actors. And I do like his English voice too, from what I've heard of, because I sometimes watch streamers play the game to see the reactions and everything. But his design is cute, he's cute, his mecha friend was cute, and is cute because he rebuilds him again after he dies. Without Valdi, my beloved. And you know, he carried me through the early game, kind of like I put his class on like Tyon and I think Uni, and with him together we had 3 healers. I don't know if he's the best in chain attacks, but in the early game it was perfect for me to use him. Wolfric, also my beloved. I would hang out with him. Like, he's one of my favorite troops. Like, hey, evil looking dude is actually a nice guy who just wants to have some little friends. And that's all I can really say about him. He's kind of cool though. This bully guy, I mean, well, whatever. Xeon, the thing is, you know, he's kind of whatever, but his potatoes and everything, they put him into a probably nice person. Like, he's a nice person, and you know, he and Juniper, you know, they got it going on. Even though Xeon is the one who's like too obvious. Like, Juniper is interested in him, but obviously then we have Kite, who isn't here obviously, and Kite is like, "What, Juniper, give me that they damn pussy," and you know, it's complicated. Trilton, my beloved, my man of the sea again. I would hang out with him. I don't drink alcohol, but I would invite him to some orange juice drinking. Like, he's cool as fuck. That's all I can say. And he's a blue mage in a Xenoblade game. But you know, the guy on the developer team who thought, you know, the Soul Hacker class does not unlock the unique monsters you already killed. It kind of makes sense, but you know, I would have liked if the ones I killed would have already counted towards it, but I don't think they do. And Trilton is just cool, like, dude. You know, his hero quest is also cool, looking for some booty. I mean, it's not very nice of him to sucker punch people, but you know, when you get old, you kind of deserve to sucker punch at least once. And you know, Lance can take it. Or he took it. Was it Lance who took it? I think he did. And the thing is, you know, he gives also some needed backstory in a little bit. You know, like, oh, Mobius don't have to be evil. And Zed doesn't really care. Like, Zed should have been like, hey, Where's T? Huh? Oh, T. Oh, that guy. He kind of stopped being evil like 50 years ago, and he's just moving around, being a man of the sea. Then we have this shepherd lady. I forgot her name. She's reading new diamonds and stuff. She's like, whatever. We have. I mean, maybe you should do all of the whatever characters quickly onto here. Why? Whatever. I mean, he's more like a please leave me alone. You know, the way he touches Miyabi, he gives me the wrong vibes. Never touch Miyabi like this again, please. Manana. I would hang out with Manana and Riku. Oh, why the lyrics? I think this gets copyright strike. Wait, never mind. I have to change Long Night in Xenoblade, but actually music from Xenoblade. I think the lyrics like that get copyright striked. Also, I'm almost clicked on my Twitter, and that would not be nice because there would have been huge anime titties, and I would have edited the video because I'm just gonna upload this as a one take, and if I would have opened my Twitter on this Chrome field right here, it would have not been nice. And another one who is maybe whatever is the guy of he's his sword like Nial's blade, but obviously he dies. And then, you know, you get him and it's like, yeah, whatever. Forgot his name, like he's in Xenoblade 2 and Torna. In Torna he's as the young pistol shooter. He was kind of also more like whatever, like he wasn't really that special. And I have to say the same about Adam. Like Adam is a nice person, but again, he's cool and everything. But there's not really much to say about Adam. Like he does the role that he needs to do, and that's what he does. Like he's a cool dude, but he's not really more than that. Obviously, he's like in contrast to Rex, you know, he can't accept the true power of Pyre and Mithra. He was afraid of them still. He was like, no, Mithra, you can't do this. We can't do this. And everything, you know, but going into detail, again, now, I don't think I have it in me. Mikhail, a nice person. Like, again, one of those people where you think, oh, why would anyone say anything positive about him? Even though he already starts his redemption with the way how he's like, Amalthus, you asshole, I'm gonna punch you fucking Titan. And he punches him with the Torna Titan, who is a space mecha ship now. And he's like, you know, Torna added some nice backstory to him with, you know, how he was a part of the group and everything. You know, he's a cool guy. The thing is, I still can't get over the fact that Petrarca is literally not here. Echoes, again, let's be honest, he's the kind of guy I thought Tyne was going to be. I thought Tyne is literally going to be Echoes. As asshole-ish, standoffish. Obviously, Tyne starts the game a little bit more, you know, he's like, I don't trust these guys yet, but he gets over it really quickly, you know? Like, you don't really think that he's the one guy, you know, like, Echoes is an asshole. We have to be honest about that. Echoes is an asshole, and he doesn't really grow towards... I mean, he does grow a little bit, you know, we see a little bit more about his backstory that, you know, he and Petrarca are not really sisters, but they are kinda, in a way. And, you know, they keep something like that close to them. Like, it does humanize them a little bit more, because Echoes is kind of just an asshole if we don't have that. We have Haze, also, a nice person, again, nothing. I mean, she has the bonus of being very cute and very wholesome and pure, so we should put her besides Laura. Then she, you know, I would hang out with her. Then we have Vandam from Xenoblade 1. The thing is, both Vandams, they do what they need to do in a way, you know? Like, maybe it's an insult to put them into, well, whatever. But I do think, you know, obviously in Vandam from Xenoblade 3, it's obvious that he's gonna die. The Vandam in Xenoblade 2, also kinda obvious in a way. And he's obviously also, again, like Rex's mentor in a way. Where you think, hey, you know, he taught him, live and fight, and live your own war. Or fight your own war. Fight for what you think is right. You know, and that's kind of neat. And the thing is, I kind of like his design in both games. But in a way, you know, there was no connection. I wasn't sad about any of the deaths. Like, I've seen people who are like very shocked about Vandam 2 dying. And like, oh, I wanted to play more as him. But, you know, I didn't feel the connection, that the emotional strain inside of my heart would have been strained. And same with the 1 and 3, obviously. Like, the 1 and 3 was like even more obvious. especially if you played 2 before. I do a nice nod towards 2 though is also that the Vandam in Xenoblade 3 also has the Jew and what's the name of the other guy? Yuf? Something like that. Like he has the same people with him that the Vandam 2 guy has in the mercenaries thing. That was a very nice nod to them. Then we have this no-name who is like, I think his name is Travis, from the city. That he works with Monica together. Like you kind of feel that he wants to Monica, he wants to be, you know, the new daddy here. Yeah, whatever. And we have this guy. I also didn't like him. Like he's also one of those rare blades, just like this guy, who shows up way too often when you replay the game. Corvette, my beloved. She's so freaking cute, bros. That's all I can really say. And she's a big pyrocon, just like me, kinda. We have Poppy, and you know, what else can I say about Poppy except absolute goat? Poppy is Poppy. Poppy is cute. Poppy is hot. Poppy 3 is hot, and 2 also. She's wholesome, she's pure, she's funny, she is strong, she has everything. She's just like... She has like these emotional scenes, you know, the Poppy promise. She's perfect. Again, just like Nia basically. I can't see anything bad about Poppy. I would die for her, I would hang out with her, I would do anything for her. But not in the same way I would do anything for Sheba. Like Sheba is obviously again, you know, Fiona. And as person, I kind of like the story about her colony Mu, with, you know, the consul who is actually her partner basically, like not partner in love, but kinda in a way. It had a very Yuri toned subtext, to be honest. She's a cool hero, and she also has like a very great chain attack thing, I think. Gray, I love his class, but he himself as a person, he has a very funny way of talking together with Uni. But he himself, you know, he is the kind of guy who's like, oh, I kind of hate that he never talks about what he needs to really do. I forgot her name, but she's a very strong blade. I love the design and like being like a mecha dragon kind of thing. Vale, then also nice person. I do love that she's like edgy emo kind of girl, but she actually has a very soft side to her because she also likes to sew, like, you know, make your own clothing. Then we have Telos. Then again, you know, it's more the kind of thing where in Xenoblade 3 or Xenoblade 2 you don't really see her personality. I mean, you do see her personality a little bit in the way she talks and says stuff. But obviously, you know, without you having played Xenosaga, it's hard to really judge them in this kind of way. Like, they're a nice crossover, but without being able to really talk about their personalities. And the thing is, I played the Xenosaga games. Obviously, she's more like, hey, we created an evil cosmos, kinda. And she only shows up in Xenosaga 3. But, you know, play it. Like, again, you know, I would recommend, I'm gonna drop it, I would say I would recommend people to watch Xenosaga 1 and 2 on YouTube and play Xenosaga 3. Again, you know, Xenosaga 1, a slow game with no real payoff really. Xenosaga 2, it's okay, it's not as bad as some people say this, it's also fairly short for a JRPG, but then Xenosaga 3 blows it all out, like, you know, because they had to fit everything into that game. Then we have X. She needs some correction. The thing is, I can fix her, to be honest. I can. The thing is, the funny thing, the first time I played through Xenoblade 3, I didn't do Uni's Ascension quest. And that's a mistake. Because in Chapter 5, while with the homecoming and everything, X shows up and she's like, you really feel like she plays a big role because she's also like, why? Why in X are like Z's two right-sided hands or left-handed side man? I mean, side woman too, but and if you don't do Uni's Ascension quest, I went through Origin and I thought, why? You know, I fought him, I killed him, no death, seen anything, he just disappears. And there was no X for me. You know, I went online after I beat the game and I was like asking around, hey, what happened to X? Like, she played a really big role in Chapter 5. What happens to her? Did she never showed up again for me? And people were like, huh? She shows up in Origin, you idiot. And I'm like, huh? I went onto YouTube, typed in X boss fight Xenoblade 3, and there she was. She was in Origin. I was like, huh? And people in the comments were like, hey, why is she here? She wasn't there for me. And then people in the comments said, oh, you should do this extension quest. And the thing is, you should do it. The thing is, the side quest in Xenoblade 3 is like so out of whack, like not in a negative way. Like the side activities in Xenoblade 3 are the best in any Xenoblade game, but the way it leaves out stuff if you haven't done some of the side quests, it makes you think this is rushed. Some characters never show up again. I think something like X could have been a little bit more prominent in the main story, because you see her being like one of the strongest consoles, right? But then, if you never did the quest, she never shows up again. It's like, whoa, what the fuck? And why also has no backstory really? Like, why is like, yeah, I'm just here, I did the colony with Miyabi to, create 10 termers immediately and stuff. But aside from that, I'm not really having anything. The thing that I forgot her name. She has like this Isa gun, and she has a great design. Fury and Praxis. Fury, flat chest. Praxis, water balloons. Jesus fucking Christ. I love how Genki she is, I love it in a girl who is very happy, happy-go-lucky kind of. Like, her backstories are not that happy, but she acts happy in a way where she's like, hey, she's like trying to make her sister a little bit happy and everything. And she's fun to play because, no wait, is she the one with, I think Praxis is the one with the lance, and Fury is the one with the katana. Like, she's a tank, she's a lance user. The thing is, I put X here for the fun, it would more me like, would hang out with, but I made the joke with the correction. Actually, never mind, I put her here. Then we have the Noah's Mio, and again, I already talked about it, but one of the coolest designs or foreshadowings was that in the boss fight against her, the flutes play. In the second fight, I think, where before she swapped, you fight her normally with the normal boss theme, but then, when she swaps with Mio, you hear the flute inside of the boss theme, because, the N Mio never was an overseer. So it was like showing you, hey, this is your Mio, because she's playing the flute in her boss theme, kinda. And you don't make the connection until you actually hear others talk about it. Or maybe you did make the connection. You're smarter than me then. I didn't make the connection really. And the worst thing about it is I didn't make the connection because I barely heard the flute. Like, I heard it at the start, but then it's like battle voices everywhere. And and then chain attack too. Fuck you, chain attack. You should have been toggable. And again, fake Mio, I mean, she's like the fake N, but more regrettable. Like, she is him, but the way you should regret it. Like, N is regretting, I mean, he does regret the things he's done, basically, but still, he doesn't see it till very late. But she knew. She hates the way this is going. She didn't want eternity anymore. She just wanted to see her old Noah once again, and that was all she wanted, really. Like, she was happy to see her old Noah in our Noah, and, I think that helped her, like, in a way. But, she doesn't have, like, this N kind of character push. We have the King of Torna. And I would buy him a beer. Again, I wouldn't drink the beer myself, but I would buy him one, and I would be like, yeah, let's drink. I would cheers. He's a cool motherfucker. Like, I just love that character theme of the guy who goes down with his own kingdom. Fuck his brother though. Fuck his brother. Double time. Here, this guy. I freaking love it. Like, there's not much to his character really. He's just a king who is manly as fuck, who kills himself basically. He could have ran. But no, he goes down with his kingdom. He goes down with his titan. Here's something that's gonna shock people. I thought D is freaking hot. I thought he's hot. And again, he's basically Mamka. He even uses the claws. Like, fucking, the bad thing about him is, his name is Dirk. My uncle is called Dirk. And, it's a little bit like, his name is kind of too normal. Like, it felt very okay, Mamka. And we have, Noah is also a normal name. But Dirk is just the moment you hear the name Dirk, you don't think of a cool ass dude. Even though he's portrayed as a loser, like, you shouldn't think he's cool, but I think he's hot. I think he's cool. Like, please don't hate me, but he took off his mask and was like, quite a looker, eh? And I was like, this dude is actually hot. And, you know, he's an asshole. He's like, hey, Joanne, please don't do this, you idiot. I'm gonna insult you, but stop interlinking, please. Don't stop giving me the juice. I don't need it anymore. But he's hot. I can't do anything against my taste in Batman. You know, sorry. Then we have a Malthus. The thing is, you know, he's more like one of those characters. I understand his motives. I do understand why he's so nihilistic. I do understand why he's doing the thing he's doing. And I think he serves as a fairly good villain. But that's all kind of like... The thing is, I'm kind of getting hungry, and I'm doing this for like almost 2 hours now, so I could go a little bit more into depth, but I'm gonna not waste on a Malthus. We have Zagiri, obviously named after an onigiri, because Senna made some very nice tasty rice balls that are a little bit salty, and she's a nice person. The way she's gonna be unlocked though, I mean, I had to Google it. I had to go look. The thing is, you know, it should have been a little bit more incorporated into the main story, I guess. She shows up in the main story, and then, you know, if you don't finish basically Colony Force rumor stuff, she never shows up for you again. And you wonder, hey, what was that again, actually, about that one robot who attacked you? You won't really find it again if you don't bother too much with side quests. And the thing is, to everyone who doesn't have side quests showing up sometimes, I had this. I googled it, side quests that I have to do for her, and there were like many in Colony 4 I haven't done yet, and I was like, hey, I haven't done this, why are they not showing up? And I had like a memory leak. Like, if you have your game open too long, it can kind of break. Like, it works, but it breaks, and it doesn't show you the rumor stuff anymore, so you have to restart the game, or you have to boot up the game again, or restart your Switch, and then, you know, you see the rumor stuff again, because I was like, there's nothing here. And I had to restart my Switch, and suddenly, boom, everyone has a rumor for me again. Then we have... or her name starts with a Z or something, right? I mean, she's also a nice person. Like, she's the kind of archetype where it's like, I want to fight very strong people. Come on, fight me. I want to have the strongest fights. Teach is whatever. I mean, he's Indoline, like the only Indoline person we've really seen in a game. Then we have Riku. I mean, Riku and Manana, again, they don't top Ricky or Tora for me, but they are a nice pair. They are cute, and the way he made me laugh, he made me laugh quite kind of at the end, where he runs with a very stupid expression on his face, that made me kind of think like, bro, you're kind of winning it, but you're also making it better for me. You know, very cute team. The thing is, you know, you kind of think there's something up with Riku, like he knows too much. The little nod to Melia, like there's something going on, maybe DLC stuff, but obviously it wouldn't really change the thing. Like, sometimes, you know, those things are left open for interpretation. Kamuravi, between well, whatever, and probably a nice person. And the same goes sadly for Ethel. Like, she was cool, like she's cool. Let's say I would hang out with her. She's cool. Yeah, that's all I can really say about her. I'm kind of sad that when she shows up again, nobody really says anything about her except Borealis. Like, he goes like, this is a phantom, right? But if you know, it would have been nice. It felt, the subplot with Kamuravi and Ethel felt a little bit forced. It felt like, hey, you know, we brought in these two people as heroes, and we have to kind of revive them again. It kind of lost a little bit of impact. Like, the thing is, in Xenoblade 3, no one really dies except the guys at the end of the game in the city, kind of, right? Like, they were allowed to put themselves into Origin again, though, to get reborn. I think they weren't put into it before or something like that. Or they were, but, you know, it's like complicated, and it's late. So, obviously, it felt like Kamuravi and Ethel getting reborn was a little bit of a, it lost a little bit of the impact, and I kind of hated it when they fought, when Noah is like, you guys don't have to do this, you don't have to die like this. The thing is, they were both like kind of at the end of their 10th term, like they were coming to a close, and they wanted to go out with a bang. They didn't just want to lay in their colonies just waiting for them to die, having a homecoming. They wanted to go out with a bang. You know, that made me mad at Noah, where he didn't understand that they wanted to die with a glorious death. It made me think like, bro, Noah, just shut the fuck up, let them kill themselves like this. That kind of actually made me a little bit mad at Noah. I said he didn't really make me mad, but you know, he made me mad in the way where he was like, you shouldn't live your lives like this, you idiots. You know, I think it would have made a little bit more impact if they said that, but you know, Kamurabi kind of lost his eyesight, like he has a problem with it, and after this, obviously, you know, she's like, hey, I'm gonna be your eyes. But yeah, Alexandria or Alexandra, I kind of like her. She has a very funny line if you go to the city baby house with her. She's like, hey, I want to sit in on the production. And it's like, whoa, you know, if you like it that way. Okay, we have Sansa. Sansa is one of those villains that makes you think, cool. That's all I really have to say. Like, I thought Sansa is cool as heck. Like, he was like coming out of nowhere, kind of like, there's a lot of foreshadowing, right? Like, it just is. Like, but the first time I played the game, it made me think, what? He's Shulk, but he's Sansa? He took him over with his body? Wow. Obviously, he's like, the thing is, you know, Klaus, my dude, though. I mean, we have both Klaus. I mean, Sansa is more like this Klaus. Like, this Klaus is like hard to be the judge. Like, this is the Klaus from Xenoblade 1. Like, he's a mad scientist in a way, where he's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna be the god of a new universe, or I'm gonna create it. Like, he didn't really knew what's gonna happen, really. Like, it's hard to judge him in Xenoblade 1 terms, but also in Xenoblade 2 terms. Like, in Xenoblade 1 terms, he's like a little bit different than if you judge him with the backstory of 2. Because with the backstory of 2, he didn't have a different choice. He didn't need to press it though, but he wanted to see what happens. He had a reason to press it. In Xenoblade 1 though, he didn't really have that reason. He was just like, yeah, I want to see what happens. Fuck this. But then, you know, we have the claws from Xenoblade 2, and it makes you think, dude, Jesus. Cool hacking dude. Wait, where did I put Sansa? Where did Sansa go? Oh, here he is. Klaus from Xenoblade 2 is like, you know, he regrets everything. Like, he becomes a little bit more like, fuck humans. And, you know, aren't humans really destined to always destroy itself and everything like that? And, you know, he kind of gives up and everything. But then, you know, he looks at Rex and goes like, hey, you know, there's always good people. There's always bad people. That's the whole story about Xenoblade 2. You can't have a perfect world. But you should always strive to make it a better place for everyone. Like, you can't get rid of every bad person in the world. Like, I think even Klaus at the end knew, hey, humans will always start shit again. There's no perfect world. We can't make a perfect world. Even, you know, if the world, you know, the last gift that the world comes together again, even then the world will have shitty parts about it. Like, that's the same, like, that's the whole story of Xenoblade 2, right? To live for a better future, even if it doesn't look as well. That you should not give up on trying to make it a better place. And that you should also, you know, try to be optimistic even in the worst times, and try to look forward to find a world, to find your place in that world. And, you know, I think, you know, Klaus knew that too already. Like, Rex is like just the epitome of bashing into someone's head. He's like, yeah, this little dude, he's kind of annoying, but I get it, what it means. And, you know, Klaus adds so much more backstory to it. Like, I do love a mad scientist sometimes, like a Klaus, the normal one. And the twist is like so great. You know, like Takahashi in the interviews said, oh, you know, it's not really a sequel. And the thing is, he wasn't lying. Like, it's not a sequel, it's not a prequel, it's literally a game that runs at the same time as Xenoblade 1. And the first time you realize, hey, you know, he's only half. So this is our Klaus in this world, and the other Klaus is Sansa. And then, you know, when you beat Malos kinda, the cutscene with Shulk comes in and goes like, wait, Shulk is killing Sansa at the same moment as we are kinda killing Malos. Bro, it blew my fucking mind when we heard Shulk from the portal. It was like, bro, what the fuck? What? it made me think, wow, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in a video game. It literally made me think, peak fiction. I couldn't think of anything less than that. And something like that kind of lacked Xenoblade 3. Xenoblade 3 didn't have this big twist where I was like, wow, really. Ashiwa, she's perfect. She's female Dunban, basically. She even has the bottom dance thing. She's like, yeah, let's kill ourselves. She's basically Shiba of Xenoblade 3 for me. Like, perfect design, perfect personality, just cool as fuck, great ascension quest that tells you so much about the backstory of the world, kinda. She should be like a required hero, to be honest. Her colony is also great, Colony 11. The Pharaohness is like a centipede dude. It's like, bro, centipedes are kind of creepy, but I would wish we could have fought that. Like, we only fight like Lambas with Isard's Pharaohness, really. And I would have loved to fight Colony 11's Pharaohness. I mean, we also fight the one from Valdi, but you know, Monica, top MILF, best MILF of 2022, to be honest. Her outfit also gives everyone enormously big titties and asses. Like, if you put Noah into the Lost Vanguard outfit, he has titties. I would love to use them as a pillow. And I would, like, I have seen the GIF where someone is like walking around without showing the faces and stuff, where you can see the ass jiggle kinda, and then it scrolls up, and then it's like Noah, and you go like, what the fuck? I would bumfuck the fuck out of him, but he only has Mio. So, Mio, get this strap ready, get it ready, and use that butt for good. Elvis is, I mean, he's like the, what is it called? Udo of Xenoblade. The thing is, at the end of Xenoblade 1, you know, Shulk basically says, we don't need a god, fuck off. Go away, bro. Go. And you know, I kind of thought he's gonna show up in Xenoblade 3. Like, I always had this hope, like, of him somehow doing something. The thing is, in the game, in Xenoblade 3, we don't have a single console with the name A. There's no mentioning, nothing about A. DLC maybe, you know, maybe Elvis is somehow a console as A, even though he's a way greater god. Like, he's a fucking god, basically. He's more than just a god, basically. But, you know, maybe he took it, I mean, Shulk wished for it. Like, a good friend takes it seriously. If a good friend says, fuck off forever, you go fuck off forever. Elvis is just, goodbye, I'm out of here. So, he was cool, though. I kind of like the mysterious guy who knows everything, who goes to the main character and tells him, I know everything. I'm watching you, kind of thing. Pyra, you know, absolute goat. Mithra, what can I say? Oops, I didn't want to leave her alone or have her leave me alone. Absolute goat. Obviously, they are quite different characters, but for me, they do belong together. The thing is, you know, I don't want to start like a philosophical or psychological analysis of their characters, because it... How long am I recording? I can't even see. 1 hour and 52 minutes, I think. It would bump up the hacking time. And you know, after I said too many Kuma comments, you could think, oh, you only like them for their boobies. And maybe also Mithra's tights. No, they're just really great characters who have... Like, the thing is, when you look at them, you know... And you think, hey, you know, people like these characters because of their designs, because of the boobs, ass, booty shorts that Pyra has, boob window that Mithra has, but I think, you know, this is a disservice. Obviously, you know, you can say, oh, the designer made a disservice of drawing them that way, that you can't take them seriously if you don't like objectifying women. But I do get the arguments. I do get why people would think, you know, the designs are not great. I do love the designs, but it makes me sad that people look at them just because of the designs and go, bad character. They can't have anything behind it, even though they have so much depth to them, both of them. You know, you could think, oh, Pyra is like more like, yeah, Pyra has less character than Mithra, because Mithra is like the main girl who created Pyra too, but you know, that's like connected, you know, you can't just say Pyra has no character, even though she's so different. Like, she's basically everything that Mithra wanted to be. She can cook, she's more mommy-like in a way where she's like nice to people, she's not teasing people. Like, I think, you know, Mithra kinda was like, you know, she kind of wanted to use the time more with Milton. She kind of wanted to show him more that she's a nice person, actually. And I think, you know, Milton knew Despite all the teasing they do to each other, Mithra is a very nice person behind the facade. But now that she created she created Pyra, and with Pyra you see her and you know she's nice. She never really talks back to you in a way that Mithra does. I mean, if Pyra has to stand her ground, she stands her ground. We see that in chapter 6 where she's like, Jin, I'm gonna destroy myself. You do know that she has it in her too. But it's like harder to get to that point where she's like, okay, this is enough, you idiot. I have to step in. And you know, just something like that already makes a character that has depth. Like, she's just not like, oh, she's just well, she's a nice person and she can cook. She's like a self-insert mummy waifu. Like, no, there's like so much more depth, and I don't even want to get into the backstory of how they don't even want to live and stuff like that. Like, there's like so much more than meets the eye. But, you know, I don't think, you know, if there's still people who think they are just boobs and asses, it's a lost cause, you know. Xenoblade 2 discourse at a certain point hit the ceiling where people who like it will like it, people who hate it will hate it, people who don't mind will don't mind, and they will probably try to play it, and they won't like it, they will maybe like it. You know, it's just a lost cause. I would never try to argue about, I would only argue about it with myself in this kind of way. I wouldn't enter a discussion with someone that goes against what I'm saying. If you want to believe what you believe, fine. It won't change my mind, I probably won't change your mind. Except some people, you know, some people are open-minded, some people will listen. But I think most people, after such a long time, are set on their opinions, and it's a waste of time to try to go through the discussion of something where you go, again. And that is something that makes me think, you probably think, why the fuck is this guy in Wood dying for? Why is this guy so high up? I am with you. The first time I beat Xenoblade 3, I was quite disappointed in Zed's character. I was like, whoa, why is this guy so much worse than, for example, Malus and Jin, and even in a way, Zanza? The thing is, the more I watched the cutscenes where he plays a big role, like over the course of the game, you never really see him show up except him sitting there talking about, oh, the river, it's flowing, it's overflowing, this time of flow, will it ever stop? No, because I will keep it this way. And then, you know, you go like, oh dude, this is a broken table code. And the funny thing is, X and Y even say it. X and Y gave up on him too. Like, nobody takes him seriously. Like, Zed is basically a redditor who just keeps on talking about pretentious, stupid philosophy that no one even engages with. No one even tries to tell him, dude, you won because of this. The way the party talks to him is basically, dude, you're a redditor. You won't change your mind because he's incapable of changing his mind, I think. He is the human embodiment of not wanting to let go. He wants to have the status quo forever. He doesn't want to learn. That's the thing, he doesn't want to change it. He isn't interested in learning more. Like someone like Jin, Malus even, they can listen to you. They can learn, they can try to learn if they want to. Like, you can feel it in Jin and Malus, for example. They're evil, but they know their actions are not good. Malus knows, he hates himself in a way. He knows, I shouldn't do this, but I think this is the best for me. This is how I was born. And Malthus' influence, I don't give a fuck. What if he influenced me? I think in a certain way, he knows he doesn't want to do it anymore. But he's like, might as well. With Zed, you could get Stunlocked into a discussion for 20 hours. You would sit beside him or in front of him and you would play a game of chess about 40 hours and he would just tell you, yo, you're wrong, blah 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 blah. You could try your best to come to terms that this guy, you try your hardest to argue with him. He would never accept it. He's the redditor. He would never say that he's wrong because he can't. He's the embodiment. You know, he's a concept, and we have seen concepts in other video games and everything. And in other video games and stuff like that, sometimes, you know, they will learn. But the thing is, there would be no point in Zed learning about other concepts. He's the concept of, no, I don't want to learn. I don't want to grow. I do this because it also amuses me. I think when he dropped the line, because it amuses me, it made me happy. It made me think like, yeah, this is what I want. I don't want sometimes to have like this pretentious reason. He has this pretentious reason with, river flowing, nobody wants to live in a world where they're a loser, but with me, the lottery is chosen. Sometimes you can be a winner, even though the life sucks here, but you know, you can be a winner in that life. In a way, no, I kind of lost the plot. I forgot kind of what I said 10 seconds ago. In a way, the line, it amuses him. You know, he's in the cinema. I was kind of sad that we can't explore the cinema. It made me think like, oh, come on, I want to explore the cinema. Then he joins all the other people. In a way, this is gonna get like super meta. Like he's not just a Redditor, he's also a Redditor that posts on subreddits where you see people die. And you know, most people watch it and they say, oh, I watch this because I don't want to die that same way, so you know, it makes me cautious. But with that, it kind of feels like he watches people suffering because it amuses him. He watches people getting killed because he has fun doing it. He's like, yeah, he probably is someone even that leaves freaking comments on those sites, on subreddits. He's like, haha, this guy does it in such a funny way, haha, haha. It makes him probably laugh. And the thing is, I think that's funny. I in my mind, that is just a freaking Redditor that sits around there, laughs about people's misfortunes because he hates himself too. You know, he hates the world, he loves the world, he doesn't want to let go. In this world, he's the leader, he's the king. He finally made himself out to be something. In a real world, when time flows again, he would probably be someone that has all these sick fantasies in his head. That's like, oh, I hate my life, and I hate everyone who's above me, and I wish they would suffer as much as I could make them suffer. And here, that's kind of the way it is. The thing is, he doesn't have friends. Zed and Y even hate him. They're like, oh, he's just blabbering about again, blah, blah, blah. And you know, everyone is kind of like, Mobius in general, they're just people that got the power, and in a way, they are just still human at its core. They can be changed. They can change. Joran is evil. He is nice again because he knew, what the fuck was I doing? I'm a fucking idiot. But Zed would never change. He knew, fuck, I'm just concept. I don't want to learn. In a way, you know, all this thinking about how he says it, why he says it, it made more perfect sense now after thinking about it a little bit more. That's why I kind of like him. Like, he's just a loser. He's kind of me. I think like him. I don't want to change most of the time. I know change. I mean, Uni says it. Changing is fucking scary. And we do know. We all are a part of that. We are all a part of Mobius. You know, they said it. They said we all have a part of Mobius inside of us. But obviously we don't have the power to do it. Would we? If I could change, if I could be the leader of a world where I don't die and I can basically do anything, would I turn it down? Even if I would have to do crucial things, I don't know, I would probably take it. And I would not want to let that world go. But in the current world, I know I have to change. I do know I have to change, but do I have the power to change? That's the question. I don't really. Like, I'm a fucking loser in a certain way. And, you know, in a way, I see myself in him. Obviously, I would like to not be evil. I would like to have a perfect life. You know? And, you know, that's like the whole thing. Kinda, like he says, if you get reborn and you're a lucky winner, you will live a nice life for 10 years. Obviously, that's not nice. Obviously, I think it would have made a little bit more impact if they would live more than 10 years, in a way. Like, 10 years is nothing, but the thing is, the whole concept of 10 years, like, Lance says something like, 10 years? I thought I was greedy for wanting to go to a homecoming for 10 years. But now, you know, after he learned that Vandam is like 60 years old, that he has like 6 amount the times that they have, he was like, no, I want to have the same, I want to live more, but they can't, you know. But I'm going again on a different tangent. But you know, I was just thinking about Zed and the way I relate to him in a way where I don't want to change, and the way he, you know, when I bait on an internet forum, I'm kind of like him. I bait and I bait and I bait. I don't really engage with other people. I just try to bait more, and he's like the same. He's like, the river is flowing. Then Noah tells him, fuck off, you river, we destroy you, river. And he will just say, river is flowing. Like, he won't even engage with concepts. He's like, why do you want to change it? And people tell him, I want to change it because it sucks. And he's like, why do you want to change it? You know, and I think that's funny. I think that's relatable. People tell him, fuck off, change. I don't want to change. But, you know, that's life. You know, the more I thought about that, the more I was like, it makes sense that he never has this connection that Malus and Jin have together with the cast of Xenoblade 2. He's just something that wouldn't work like that. Like, you have some consoles showing up again, sometimes like Jonas and D, where you go like, oh, it's them again, and I've fucking love the combination because the name is like DJ. But obviously you don't have to connect. Like Jin and Melis are just hard to beat, but Zed is like. And he also has a very nice theme, you know. Look up the theme of him, like the Showdown with Zed Part 1, and it has the instrument harpsichord in the song, and it's like Chief's kiss. Like that alone made me a fan of him. But anyways, you know, this is like 2 hours long now, and Jesus Christ. But yeah, this is my Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3 list. Like obviously no X characters again, because well, Elma would hang out with, their Vandam would probably be like probably a nice person. Some of the like I forgot to name like the alien girl with like the cat paws. I would die for her because I love her design, but overall, here's my list. I mean, please leave me alone. All of them kind of make sense. Who was this again? Obviously, just a joke. But yeah, I hope you maybe enjoyed the video. I mean, you know, maybe you enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed it, I enjoyed that you enjoyed it. Obviously, some ratings would be a little bit different. Like X would not be up here; she would be more like here. And I just think she's really cute. She's bratty, and she has a scythe. Like that's the best kind of weapon. I wish she would become a hero or something. You know, I'm looking forward. You know, I'm really looking forward to the DLC. I hope it's gonna be like more like an epilogue, but learning a little bit more about the founder could work too, but I want to have more like a future connected kind of epilogue than a prequel Torna like. Now, obviously they're not very compatible or comparable, but you know, as long as it's as good as Torna, you know, I wouldn't complain. But yeah, you know, I hope you enjoyed it.